PLC, so it is a digital device with a microprocessor and a programmable memory that can store and execute user instructions which are expressed in Boolean logic, sequential logic, timing, counting, and some mathematical equations in order to control the operation of a complex machine or an overall industrial process through the utilization of digital or analog inputs and outputs. And nowadays PLCs can be either simple or complex, and they come in a variety of sizes and are equipped with a wide variety of extensions and interfaces that fulfill all the type of needs found at factory level, including the need to communicate with other devices and computers. There are multiple programming languages. Okay, so we will discuss about different programming languages in upcoming class. Okay, there are multiple programming languages for tuning the behavior of PLCs so that they can match the different programming skills of the end user. So one of the programming languages familiar to us, so that is ladder logic. Okay, now other than ladder logic also, so in the companies, okay, depending on the requirement, depending on the skill set of the programmer, so they will make use of functional block diagrams, okay, or sequential logic. Okay, so it depends on who is using the PLC. Okay, depending on the skill. Suppose if someone is good in C programming, okay, then he need not go for ladder logic. Okay, so you can try other languages. So depending on the skill set, so they can make use of different programming languages. Okay, that we will discuss later. Next, the basic parts of a PLC are processor, that is CPU, then input-output modules, RAM, power supply. A programming device is a peripheral device that is used only for programming stage of PLCs and is not necessary for its operation. That means, so it can be an external device. So when required, you will insert or you will connect that to PLC, you will do programming, then you will disconnect it. Okay, so that is you can do programming like that also, or you can do programming in the PC where there will be a particular software for a particular PLC. Okay, you can do programming on that software and that can be fed to the PLC. Okay, in some specific types of small PLCs, the programming device is embedded in its main body. In few cases, it can be part of the PLC also. The programming device may be either a specially manufactured digital device or a classical PC equipped with the software that the PLC's manufacturer is developing for PLC programming. So in our college, okay, in automation lab, Bosch lab, okay, so they use Indra Logic. Okay, so that is a software. Okay, so like that, so there are few softwares. By making use of that also you can do programming. Okay, these are the components of the PLC or internal structure of PLC. So it requires power. That's why power supply is also one of the component. Then processor, that is CPU. Programming device, so it can be an external device. Okay, whenever required, so you connect it to PLC and you will feed the program. Okay, and these programs are stored in the memory. Okay, next again, so you will get inputs from different devices. It may be sensors. Okay, so depending on those inputs, okay, so this PLC will perform or it will execute a particular logic. Okay, depending on the set of inputs, and after execution of that logic, so you we will get the output. Okay, so that output can be used to operate machines, used to actuate actuators like motors, okay, or cylinders, pneumatic or hydraulic cylinders, okay, like that the output will be used, okay. So again, so here there will be voltage variation, okay, so voltage reduction. So in India it will be 230 volts, okay, so the voltage in is different in different countries, okay. In some cases in countries like USA it will be 120 volts, in some cases it will be 230 like India, in some countries it will be 220, in some countries it will be 240, okay. In India this voltage will be 330 volts, okay, then that will be converted into 5 volts. So then again in the output model also once again it will be enhanced, voltage will be increased from 5 volts to 230 volts. So since machines are operating at 230 volts, okay, they need input at that level, okay, so that's why it will be increased. Here for the execution of the logic, so it will be reduced from 230 volts to 5 volts. The processor is responsible for the execution of the user's programmed instructions. The utilization of the memory that stores the automation program as well as various types of data that concern the operation of the internal digital components such as timers, counters, input components that transfer high power signals into low power one, that is from 230 volts to 5 volts, that are compatible with the digital logic of the PLC for their usage in the automation program, and output components that are transforming the low power command, that is from 5 volts to from the PLC to automation devices, like it may be a machine switching on or switching off of a machine or motor, okay, having some extension or retraction strokes of cylinders, okay, like that it can be anything. So automation devices to proper and compatible high power signals. And the PLC, there is a specific sequence in which the previous actions are executed. This sequence is cyclic and continuously repeated during the operation of the PLC in the run mode. If it is in run mode, okay, you can execute the program repeatedly more than once. The role of a PLC nowadays is to transform the hard wiring into flexible software and to serve as an expert tool for the industrial engineer to solve problems. Okay, if you don't use PLC, so you can go for electric wiring, okay, or so traditional automation circuits, okay, earlier, so they were full of wirings, okay. Now you can reduce that wiring, okay. Instead of that you can make use of PLC itself, but still input and output components remain same. Instead of wiring, okay, so and switches and few more components, so that will be replaced by PLC in automation circuit. So that we will understand with the help of few examples. PLC is not replacing all the components of an industrial automation. So this is an example. Okay, this is the conventional automation circuit. Okay, so it's stop, start buttons. Okay, so the and sensor. Okay, so these are the input components. Okay, stop button, start button, then sensor. Okay, these are the input components. Okay, whereas relay, okay, so delay timer, then this is a light, this is a sound or alarm, okay, this is solenoid valve. So these are the outputs, okay, or output components. So in the PLC also, the input components stop, start and sensor, okay, they are retained, and again output components, so these are retained, okay, so output components are retained. But so what has been reduced was, so this wiring, okay, and these contacts, closed and open contacts, okay, so these electric contacts and wiring, so it is replaced by PLC, okay, that is the difference. Here already this we discussed in previous module, okay, so while discussing about automation circuits, so we discussed about these symbols. Okay, so here also, so there are few symbols. Okay, so this one, so this is on delay timer. Okay, then this can be any switch. Okay, in this case this is a relay, and this is light lamp indicator. This one. Okay, this is alarm. Okay, and this is solenoid valve. Okay, and this is an incomplete circuit. Okay, just for understanding purpose, these three dots represent, so this circuit will continue. Okay, so it is just for understanding purpose. Okay, so by this what you can understand is, so input and output components so will be retained even when we use PLC, but wiring is reduced. Okay, and it is replaced by PLC. Okay, so now in the conventional automation system, so we cannot consider the whole circuit because it is an incomplete one. So we can consider a logic, okay, a simple logic. When you press the start button, okay, so when you press the start button, so now this is open. Okay, if you press the start button, it will become close. Okay, when you supply power from this line, okay, since it is already closed, so power electric signal, okay, will pass like this. Again, so when you press start button, now it will become closed. When it become closed, then only power can flow to this location. Okay, it will flow. Then if there is a signal from sensor, if there is an input from sensor, then this contact will close. Okay, when this contact close, then only power can move further, it can flow further. Okay, then it will reach the relay. Okay, so then it will get actuated. When this get actuated, this is linked to this contact C. Okay, when the relay this get energized, so this open contact will become closed one. Okay, once it become closed one, so even if you release this start button, since it is a self-latching circuit, okay, so it will be in continuous flow, so it will get the flow. Okay, since it is self-latching one, so even after removing the start button, okay, so now power will flow in this line, so this now it will flow in this path. Okay, so even from here stop, it will take this term, it will flow like this. Okay, next again simultaneously, since it is linked to this also, it will also close. Again power will flow through this path also. Okay, this timer will receive a signal. Okay, when it receives signal, depending on the time, it may be 5 seconds, 10 seconds. Okay, so after that it will close this contact. Okay, so depending on that, so further signals will be delivered. Okay, so that's how automation circuit will work. Okay, so now, so if you make use of ladder logic programming in PLC, okay, same logic. So it is a closed contact and this is a open contact. Okay, so if you press start, this will also become close. Okay, when this is closed, power can move further. Okay, so it will move further and it will actuate a relay, or it will so give the output. So then that will result in close of C. Okay, so when C it becomes closed contact, so even after if you release this start also, so power will be supplied in this path. Okay, so like that it will work. Okay, next there's a procedure how this input and output modules will work. Okay, when a program is executed in the PLC. Okay, so this is the conventional circuit. okay, where this is a rotary switch. Okay, if you press this switch, it will be a close contact, then this get energized. Okay, this relay get energized. So this is the conventional thing. Same thing you can execute with the help of PLC. Okay, if you use PLC, in PLC there are input output modules. Okay, so now this rotary switch is the input device. Suppose if you connect this input device to one of the terminal blocks of input module, okay, so that is 3, okay, terminal block 3. So for this, if you connect, so whenever if you press this switch, so this PLC will get the input signal, or if you make it close contact, okay, it will receive the input signal. When PLC receives the input signal, what will happen inside it is, so in order to store these input instructions or input signals, so there will be a input image table. Okay, this is like a memory for storing input signals. Okay, in this it consists of rows. Okay, and there are this chamber. It is just a representation. Okay, there will be a space. Okay, so to store input signals. So in this, if there is a signal, okay, for every signal there will be a specified location depending on the terminal blocks. Okay, so for input 3, okay, so you can find in third column. Okay, so there will be a space. Okay, if it is represented with this hatching, okay, or with this pattern, it represents presence of an input signal. Okay, then processor will scan for voltage. Okay, so here it will find voltage. That means it will get a signal regarding presence of an input. Okay, so based on that, a logic will be executed, and so output will be delivered. Okay, so when it receives an input, okay, it will become a close contact. When it becomes close contact, so it will result in this output, or it will result in activation of an actuator, okay, or a signal to an output device. Okay, so that results in output. Again, for output signals also there will be a separate memory, additional memory. Again, that is called as output image table. So here also, so on, since the output it is connected to 4th terminal block of the output module. So in the 4th column you can find this, okay, pattern or this hatching. Now again it will be, this output will be delivered to an external device. Okay, so this is how it will work. So input, it may be from any sensors. Okay, so it will be connected to a particular terminal block. So then it will, PLC will scan for this presence of this voltage. Okay, depending on that, so it will execute a logic that will be in the program. Okay, depending, so how to transform input into output, that is decided by the logic. Okay, so depending on the type of logic, so you will get the output. So that is represented here. Okay, so here in the scanning cycle, what will happen is, so scanning of inputs. So that means PLC will scan for the presence of voltage. Okay, in the input memory block. So that is input image table. Okay, so if there is presence of input, then so program will be executed according to logic in the program. Okay, then outputs are delivered by the PLC. Again, same thing, same procedure will be repeated. Scanning of inputs, again program execution, again output. So this is a continuous cycle, and this is called scanning cycle. Okay, in a PLC, there are 2 additional memory units, where one is dedicated to the storage of the output state and is called output image table. Okay, this is the output image table or memory of output signals. And the second is dedicated to storage of input states and is called input image table. Here states means, so it is again, it is a binary, okay, 1 or 0, that is the logic. So if there is presence of a signal, that is 1, absence is 0. Rotary switch is an input device, so this is an input device for this example. Power relay is an output device, so the relay is the output device, and this output, so device is connected to terminal block 4 of the output module. Input device is connected to terminal block 3 of the input module. PLC will detect if there is a voltage or not in every input, so it will scan this table. Okay, if there is presence of voltage, that is an indication. Detected voltage subsequently is converted and properly adjusted from input component in a low power. TTL means, so it is transistor logic signal that is used in electric applications. Okay, so transistor logic signal. The existence of this transistor logic signal is stored as a logical 1 in the memory of the input image table, and the position that corresponds to third inputs. In this example, it is with respect to third input. The microprocessor repeats the sampling of the inputs, executes the program from the beginning, and updates the outputs and repeats again the same cycle. This continuous cyclic operation of the PLC is known as the scanning mode. So that is represented in the previous figure. So this is the representation of scanning mode. Next, in the inputs where there is no application of voltage, a logical 0 is stored. After sampling of all the inputs, the microprocessor starts with the execution of the program. In the output 4 of the output component, a logical 1 transistor logic signal is transformed to a power signal. So that means converting from 5 volts to 230 volts. That can energize a switching component through which an output device is energized. Next, modular construction of a PLC. Okay, so whenever if you go for buying a PLC, so you will get it in two forms. Okay, one will be modular design, another will be compact form. Okay, even this is applicable for buying PC, okay, personalized computer. So you have two options. So you can buy CPU from one company, monitor from one company, okay, keyboard, mouse from different companies. Okay, so that is like a modular form. Okay, where if you get all from only one company, so that is like compact form. Okay, where you don't have much options in front of you. Okay, so if you want a good processor, you may buy it from a different company, from Intel. Okay, and if you want monitor, okay, again you can buy from some other company. Okay, so if you want again keyboard, okay, you can buy from other company. You have options, okay, depending on each individual requirement, individual component requirement, so you can take. So in case of modular construction, okay, so compact, so there are two forms, compact form and modular form. Compact form PLCs are solid structures, usually non-expandable, with a specific number of inputs and outputs. So if you buy compact form PLCs, so in number of inputs and outputs that you can get, that is fixed. Okay, it may be 8, it may be 16. You cannot vary it. Okay, so here for smaller applications, okay, for limited application like for your project work, okay, you can go for compact form PLCs. Okay, but for complicated applications, so where there are more number of inputs and outputs, or if the requirement goes on changing, okay, for few applications 8 inputs or outputs may be sufficient, for few it may be 16, for few it may be 32. Then also you can go for modular construction. Okay. In compact form, so they form an integrated structure that includes, in addition to input-output modules, the power supply, microprocessor, interface with a programming device, stop-run mode switch, LED indicators, etc. So these are all part of compact form PLCs. It is like complete assembly of the PLC. Compact form PLCs are suitable for small size automation application because input and output number of inputs outputs are fixed. Modular PLCs are composed of independent modular subunits mounted on a common base. So here only size of the PLC will be decided by this base. Okay, base will decide size of the PLC. Whereas in each subunits, okay, you can have a subunit according to the requirement. Modular PLC is comprised of a base with specific dimensions, and therefore they have specific space capacity for equipment such as a power supply module, microprocessor unit, and various input-output modules. The modular base has an electrical interface bus with appropriate plug-in connectors for the modular units, which achieve functional cooperation of all of the PLC's components. Okay, so this is the interface bus. Okay, and there are spaces allocated for subunits. Again, here there will be a space. It is a physical space. Okay, depending, you can choose a CPU. Okay, with different capability, and that will be assembled to this space, this base. Okay, similarly for inputs and outputs, depending on the requirement, you can choose an input module with 16 terminal blocks or 30, like that. Okay, so it depends, you have the freedom. Okay, so depending on the requirement for a particular application, so you can choose these subunits. So that is possible in case of modular form. So whereas this is the compact form. Okay, so in our college, so we have compact form PLCs where number of inputs and outputs are fixed. Okay, so these are the input terminal blocks and these are the output terminal blocks, and these are fixed. So that is in case of compact. So this is the compact form and modular form PLC which are available in the market. So this is by Schneider company and this is by Siemens. Okay, so this is extension of a central PLC unit with modular structure. Again, so you can connect them and you can add modules. Okay, so or you can add subunits depending on the requirement, and you can connect with the help of cables. This is also a modular structure.